All right, everybody, welcome to the kitchen table. I'm Kenny D. I'm trying something new today. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to give it a shot. The remote, the split screen with my buddy, retired FDNY captain, Brian Lena from Division 8, retired as a captain. Did 20 years, right? May of 2003 to May of 2023.
International Firefighters Day, 20 years.
Nice. He was lieutenant in 90 engine for about 6 or 7 years. A fireman in 30 truck. That's how I met him in the Harlem Zoo. He did a little bit of time in 97 engine, you said?
Yep.
Okay. You're also on the incident management team, the IMT, right?
Yeah. I don't know how to cross you with that, but yeah.
I want to ask you about that. That's pretty cool. So now that we're both retired, we've decided to become content creators on social media. He is now the content creator of the YouTube page Searching for Tone. If you are a guitar enthusiast, it's awesome. Check it out. There's a lot of unboxing of all these guitars he plays. It's a beginner's channel, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
I used to play back before I got on, and then totally stopped playing. So I figured I might as well capture it as a guy starting off again.
Yeah. Oh, from the beginning. How long was it before, like, you put the guitar down, and then how long was it before you picked it up again to play?
So, I mean, I had like on and off spurts of playing, but it was probably, I would say, close to 20, 25 years.
Really?
Yeah. So just enough not to forget everything. So like sometimes when you're watching, if like I'm playing a song, it's not because I know it. It's like it's coming back.
Yeah.
Like that whole muscle memory type thing.
Yeah. How long did you play before you put it down? When did you stop playing?
Only about like, I would say like maybe 4 or 5 years. It was like, high school up until about, I got on the job, and then after that it was.
Did you like play in like the band in high school? Did you have a band, or you just kind of played?
I mean, I was a band nerd. I played the saxophone.
Oh,
yeah.
You didn't want to get into a channel called Saxophone for Two?
Smooth jazz.
Cop sax.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't good at that either, but.
Did you have a band, or you didn't play in school?
No, just music lessons, a little bit here and there, but then mainly self-taught.
Okay. Did you? Because I played a little acoustic guitar, but not very good at all. A bunch of years ago, I saw a video. Like, I wanted to learn how to play. I thought I was going to be cool. I could play and get all the chicks and sing and stuff. Yeah. My brother-in-law was like, "Oh, there's this video out before social media. It was called Esteban. Do you remember Esteban?"
Yep.
Right. He looked like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he was teaching
acoustic guitar. Like on late night, like if you're up at like 2:00 in the morning in the house watch, you'd see him on the infomercial.
He'd sell you like a $25 guitar with his CD and play these elaborate tunes where I was like, I can't fucking do this. Yeah. So I tried playing for like a week or two, and I was like, God, this is no good. Mm-hmm. And then Muyai, Yuli, he sold me his guitar. He didn't want to play his anymore. So I started practicing on my own again. But it's, as you know, just like all this stuff, it's so time consuming that I just didn't have time to do it. And I suck. But what made you want to do the guitar for Searching for Tone?
I figured I wanted to start learning again and having the free time and not really knowing what to do. I did try, like, it sounds kind of stupid to like go out there and look for like a second job, but after you retire, but I was just looking for something to do to like interact with people and just, I went to Home Depot and I worked there for 8 hours and then found out that they weren't accustomed to the fire life schedule.
You couldn't switch tours with anybody?
Well, I used like, I don't care. So when I was a boss, even when I was a fireman too, I would work all the holidays, the weekends. I didn't care. Like, to me, I'd rather be off on a Tuesday, especially, go down to the beach on a Tuesday instead of a Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
But they only had like 4, 6, or 8 hour shifts. I'm like, I wanted to work like 2 days a week and like I'll work 16 hours straight.
Yeah. You always hear like these retired guys that are like, I got a job, but they weren't used to my schedule. I was trying to work 2 tours in a row, and then and they were like, you can't do that.
Yeah, we have these regulations. We don't let you work more than 8 hours. Come on.
I work for I work part-time for the school. I do school security now. I needed something to do. I needed a purpose, so I got this security job, and I work 10:45 to 3. So it's great hours, but it's every single day. I got the summer off, but I don't get paid when I don't work. So I've been trying to get a lot of this stuff done because I have time. But once school starts, it's harder to, as you know, it's hard to edit videos. It takes so long to edit and film and do all this stuff and get it right. So how are you doing with all that, man? Learning all that shit.
That to me, like, and that's the thing is, like, I haven't even begun to learn playing guitar at all because it's so much. Like, you don't know how much stuff it actually takes. To, well, I mean, you do, but the rest of the world, you shoot like 30 minutes, an hour. It takes anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to edit that thing. Then it takes like another hour to come up with some sort of description, and then another hour for thumbnails. Yeah. And then it's like 2 or 3 hours for you to like actually moderate probably total of all the comments. If you get any, good comments, always try to respond as quick as possible. Yeah. And then even to the trolls, I don't delete comments ever, so you could say whatever you want, unless I'm doing some sort of review where like I've only had, I think, 3 items actually given to me. And if you're gonna, if you're gonna, like, everything else I pay for. That's another thing too that you don't understand.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you how that all works.
Yeah, I'm like in the whole, like, I don't even want to say how much, but
so you're basically buying this gear, buying these pedals, the guitars to do your unboxing. Which the editing is really cool. You're really you're getting on top of that. That looks great. Yeah. Watching your videos, like, you've edited them really well. But you're paying out of pocket to get these. Like, have you tried to reach out to these companies to kind of give you
the biggest thing, like, as far as nowadays, YouTube is being so good at like showing information to people that they don't feel like they need to like subscribe to a channel because, like, oh, YouTube like shows me exactly what I want. I open up my home screen and there's so many things out there. I just click on it and watch it. But a lot of these companies, they strictly based on, like, they don't care if you get like 1,000 or 2,000 or 100,000 views. They want to see how many subscribers you have. Oh. So like, I've actually reviewed something that's gotten way more views than somebody that has a huge amount of subscribers. Yeah. But I paid for it. They got it for free, which understandably, they've been in the game a little bit longer, and they still have following. It's fine. But some companies have been willing to take a chance and review it, and actually they've been very successful for both me and them.
Oh, good. That's good.
So, yeah.
It's tough though. Like, you're on a niche that is. There's a lot of. There's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of fireman channels out there that I'm finding crazy, but there's a lot of guitar channels out there too. There's a lot of guys. Who was I watching for a while? Marty Music. You know, Marty Music. He's pretty cool. Like, but he's all teaching guitar. Like mixing everything, showing products and gear and stuff like that. I was just wondering if you had affiliates or you linked up with any other guitar channels that you're kind of.
So that's the thing is, like, the low level ones, and I say low level ones, like some of them even have like 10,000 views. Like, we talk back and forth, whether it's in their live streams or just like through comments. And that's a great community. It seems like the higher up ones almost kind of like shun you. It's almost kind of like being the pro, being the firehouse. Like, you got to find your core group of guys that, that, understand where you came from, that, haven't been, don't have like 20, 25 years and like, hey, get back in the sink. Like, like, hey, let me help you out type of thing.
You got to, it's almost like they just have so many subscribers and get so many comments. They probably they don't even have time to answer some of these things, like, and look at them, they're too busy putting out a freaking video a day, and to answer comments all day long has got to be way too time consuming. I don't get many comments yet, but I try to answer the ones that I do get.
I was floored about that one that not even in the guitar community, the one that you've seen on my Facebook that was in the like the smart home niche type thing, where he talks Amazon Alexa and all that stuff like that. He has like 200,000 subscribers, and I just reached out to him one day, like, just like saying like, hey, thanks, I think your channel is great, and we got into like commenting back and forth, and I'm like, I can't believe that this guy is actually talking to me right now with 200,000 subscribers. And you look at like his video will be like up for like 20 minutes and you'll have like 138 comments in a YouTube like chat. Like it's insane.
Yeah, like I don't know how he keeps up with something like that. Yeah, but he caught you commented and he caught your comment, so that's pretty cool. That's cool. Yeah, nice. All right, you said you were like you mentioned being a pro, being a firehouse. How did you get into fire service, bro?
So not the best looking way sometimes, depending on which side of the camp you're on. But I was a volley, in Mayapack for.
Hey man, we need volleys too, brother. We need volleys too. And we as firemen we break their balls, and it's a great community. But who the fuck is gonna put your house out if you live upstate? So I wouldn't. Too bad.
Taxes already in Putnam County are about $20,000 a year. So if you want to have it's pretty insane. Yeah.
You get great taxes for being a volley?
So I went through probably, I think, a divorce at the time where they passed the bill in New York, so now I got, out and I was renting an apartment. So I got absolutely no benefit from that tax break whatsoever. That's quite all right. I mean, you don't do it for that anyway.
Yeah.
It was just a family thing. My aunt, uncles were firefighters. My aunts were like in like a ladies auxiliary thing. So even my cousin actually was a New York City fireman too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where did he work?
He was he actually it's so ironic. He actually started off in 97 engine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know, like if they there was 348 of us in our probie class. I doubt that they looked at every single family member and be like, oh, you know what? We're going to send him where he went.
Yeah.
And just so happened to, and then he wound up trying to get out of there. He went to 45 engine.
Okay.
Off of East Tremont, actually where Mac and EJ were from.
Yeah.
Truck in 58.
Mm-hmm.
But and then he became a fire marshal, and he retired 2013. So
okay, all right, cool.
Yeah,
so you got on the volleys as a teenager?
Yeah, right. I think it was like 17 or 18. Right. Still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's only because of that I even really got. I mean, I knew my cousin was a fireman in the city, but I didn't know anything else about it. And even, so like I joined probably, I think, April in 98. And then all of a sudden the filing for the 99 test came out.
That's right.
I had somebody that was also a New York City fireman throw that application right in front of me and said, take it.
Yeah.
And from then on, I just started taking every civil service test. But, if I didn't do that, I don't know, unfortunately, you think about it too, timing wise, really got on the job because of, 9/11. Because I didn't do well. I got a 94 on the written and 100 on the physical. My list 4,287. And before 9/11, everybody came up to me to ask you, so what's your list number? And I'm like, told them, like, better luck next time, guy.
It's brutal, man. My list number was low 3,000s, like 3,100 or something like that, or 3,200. You got hired in May of 2003, right?
Yep.
And so you got on before me. I got on September of 03.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I know.
You were before me.
No. May of 2000. Yeah. My list number was 3,000 because I remember running into, remember Danny Keene? Did you know Danny Keene? No.
Yeah.
I think he's a chief now. I don't even know if he's on the job, but he was a park policeman with me. And after I got stationed down by Federal Hall after 9/11. And I saw him walk into his firehouse one day. I just happened to see him. And this was after, after 9/11. And I was like, oh, I'm on the list. Da, da, da. And I told him my list number. And he was like, you got a shot? Yeah, I think you'll be all right. But I was 3,000. So I think I got there was some issues with my background or my medical or something like that. I think my freaking, what's his name? My investigator was a jerk off.
Oh, so, some of them are like, you have either the nicest one in the world or, one of my buddies, he took the test when he was 17, and you had to be 17 and a half, and he was like 17 and shy, like 2 months maybe, and let them get all the way to where he goes to 9 Metro Tech with all of his paperwork. And they had to, it's not like they did the math right in their head. They're like, oh, you were born in this state, thank you very much and have a nice day.
Yeah, that happened to Roy and Johnston.
I remember that on the
he was saying about that. You would think that they'd get through the whole thing and be like, you know what, all right, it's 2 months, whatever, we won't hire you until you're 21 anyway.
You don't say anything, we won't say anything, and then 20 years you do a podcast and then you say it. And it was the hiring freeze too, no less. It's like you were minus like 5,000 people, and you're going to scrutinize a guy.
I know, right?
Was 2 months shy from taking the test, and now he's, like 32 or whatever. It's like
crazy, man. Yeah, it was being, because of the shit that I did beforehand, like being an air marshal, my background was like impeccable. Military, law enforcement, and then doing the air marshal thing. Like my background was fucking spotless. So
like how many background investigations, like that should have been like a rubber stamp.
Right. Like, so the background should have been a rubber stamp, but it was like stuff was coming back. I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. I had a top secret clearance with the government, and this is the problem. So
going on a plane.
yeah, like it was crazy. But all right, so you get on, you take the FDNY test, you get on in May of 2003, and you go to 97 engine. How was 97 engine?
So I loved it. I thought it was a good experience. I didn't like some guys liked single engines. I wasn't really the single engine. Every time I got detailed out to like a double house, I loved it.
Yeah. And
I also kind of saw the writing on the wall. I didn't want to be a senior man, like the complete opposite of like what most people like think like someday they want to be like. And I could see that it was starting to creep up. Like it wasn't like going to happen overnight, but I think by the time I would have had 10 years on, I would have been like the second most senior guy in the house.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like
10 years on. Wow. That house is a big turnover? Like,
so, I mean, it's a funny thing. Hopefully it's not too long of a story, but they actually had somewhat back in the day, a big stigma. You could just do this in 2 parts if you want. But,
it doesn't matter.
So the senior man there back in the early 90s was the union treasurer, and at that time the union had money stolen from it from the accounting firm, like a crazy amount of money.
Really?
And it became like a finger pointing thing, I think, at him, and he had nothing to do with it whatsoever. But it became like the whole union brawl type thing, and he punching out the president.
Oh, leave it to us firemen, man.
Flash forward a couple of years later, the union president is the commissioner of the fire department, Tom Von Essen.
Really? Oh,
so wow. You can bet that anybody that got assigned there, I don't know if this is going to get us flagged or, we're going to start getting like look back into our, fire department careers. But so they started loading up the house with unsavory characters.
Okay.
Well, it got a really bad stigma, and it took them that long to get out of that stigma. And it did. It's better now.
Yeah.
But there could have been a lot of good people that stayed in that place that wound up, trying to get out.
So a lot of guys transferred out of there is basically
it was like a 1 or 2 year thing and get out, or you want to staying.
Yeah. Interesting. So then you get over to Dirty Truck.
Yeah.
What made you want to go to Dirty Truck?
So I always loved that area, and I got detailed there a couple of times before, and just remember sitting outside. That was the greatest thing. Like, there wasn't too many firehouses I kind of seen that did that, rolled up the front door and talked with the community.
Yeah.
Sat there and BS'd all night. And I just loved the area. It had such a wide mix of, buildings. It was definitely up and coming. Like like the old timer will probably be like, yeah, it wasn't, but it was still kind of run down too. There were still vacants. It was still kind of grungy and dirty, and had the old city type feel to it, which was very appealing.
When I got there, every brownstone except for one was finished, or two were finished, and the rest of them was still vacant. Still, you could still see through the roof.
Through the roof.
Yeah, when I got there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it was, just a good learning experience. And the battalion I knew was great. It just has such a reputation that precedes itself, that anybody you talk to, And I knew Drew Kanash there.
Kanash.
He was in 36 engine. They closed 36 engine, and then he went over there. So, yeah. And I knew at that time that they were looking to get people, but then the engine had just had a kind of a moratorium on that. Hey, you can't keep on taking all the guys across the floor. You need to fill up the engine.
Yeah.
So put my paper in, and then met a couple of times, met Nick a couple of times. Look, I could deal with this, and then
yeah. You did it the right way. You went to the house a couple of times. You showed your face. I had about 3 seconds before I realized I got transferred when I went there. I mean, you know the story. So it's fucking. I just showed up. And
so I was totally up for waiting my turn, and one of the guys in the engine had his paper across the floor, and mine went through first before his.
Yeah.
And, that was a little contentious, but rightfully so. I mean, I totally said before the orders were coming out, I'll tap out, so that the order wouldn't go through, so that he can get the spot first. And, at that time they're like, no, don't worry about it. We'll get him across the floor, because it was so hard to actually get me out of 97 engine.
Really?
And, yeah. And I owe pretty much my rest of my career to EJ for getting me out of there, because he pulled in the favor of all favors for somebody that he doesn't even know. And that's what, I love the man to death. Yeah. I remember looking through my folder one day and seeing this letter from Tobin, Chief Tobin, that was in Division 6, writing a personal letter to personnel saying, hey, can you transfer this kid as a personal favor to me? And I don't know how this stuff really flies now, saying this out in the open with, the whole nepotism thing and all that stuff on the job. But
20-something years ago.
Yeah, there's anonymity, I guess, or a statute of limitations. But if it wasn't for that, they weren't going to allow me out of 97 until somebody transferred in to 97 engine.
You weren't getting any transfers in,
No. Yeah.
You didn't want to transfer, and they got lifted to go there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow, so you got lucky. You got out of there.
I mean, not to say anything about it now. It's a great place. When I got promoted, we were running with them all the time. Before I got the spot in 90, if 97 would have opened up from working there, I would have taken the spot. They did a good job of definitely turning it around.
That's good. That's good. So how was your first year or so in 30 trucking, all in Zoo, man? One of the toughest places on the job to work, for new guys, especially trans. That's another thing we have in common. We transferred into that place.
So one thing that makes me love that house so much is the fact, and it's a testament from just even my father. My first tour was absolutely insane because, not getting there on the bestest of terms. I come home, I'm exhausted. It's after a night tour. I'm in between 2 night tours. And I didn't even go to my aunt and uncle's 60th anniversary because I was that shot. And I didn't even want to ask for a mutual guy in the house. But I was covered with every single thing that you could possibly imagine, from shaving cream to flour. There was even glass in my hair. And I'm passed out on my couch. And my dad is like, what the hell did you do? And then flash forward about like, I would say like 8 or 9 years later, my dad's going through cancer and he's unfortunately, going to pass through it. And guys are picking up tours left and right. And I'm not even worried about showing up, repaying anything whatsoever. Guys are calling and saying, can we send food or anything like that? And it just shows you that like, you just got to stick it out a little bit. And then you're going to be in the greatest house in the world. And
for sure,
it's so much of a pride factor when you tell somebody that you came from 5930 and they know exactly where it was. Or
they go, ooh. Okay, all right.
I think the next thing I think is you're going to punch them in the face. No,
that was like, I had a rough year and a half, close to 2 years, but a lot of that was probably after like the first year was probably all my own insecurities. Dealing, thinking, all right, these guys hate me, blah, 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 blah. I still got to do the right thing. And I was just the kind of guy I am anyway, trying to do the right thing. But when something like that happens, a family member is sick or something's going on, there is no shortage of guys. Everybody steps up. Is like, I can work. I can do this. I'm here. I do that. Don't worry. You're off. That was one great thing. And it's probably every, you would like to think it's every house on the job that's like that. I don't know if it is or not, but our house guys were always stepping up for stuff like that when we were there, for sure. So going through those tough times in the beginning where you're proving yourself, and then when you do, and the guys step up for you, stuff like that, it's a great feeling that that those guys have your back like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it makes you that much, I think, a better fireman, because you see it now when you bounce around as an officer. And you see how they aren't like that, and you see like a guy with like 2 or 3 years that doesn't have the same passion or knowledge. And not saying that every house is like that, but we all know that there is going to be a house out there. But remember, like seeing a guy with like probably even I think he was a probie in one house. He's got his uniform shirt off, and he's sitting there at the kitchen table while some senior guy is like stirring eggs at the kitchen table. And I'm like,
you're like, what is going on
right now? But I'm just here for the night. So I'm not going to say anything right now, because I'm not even going to think about even, wanting to be in this house.
Right.
And even like we even think of putting, in for that spot.
No, we taught our guys or just showed them the right way, just to be, your first year is the most important. Like that's how you're making your bones, and you're supposed to act accordingly. You have to have your uniform on. As much as it sucks, you can't go to bed early, that, all that stuff. And to go to another place, especially as an officer, and see that from where we came from, you're like, is somebody not going to say anything to this guy? This guy's got 6 months on the job, and he's got his feet kicked up on the freaking table with his shirt untucked or whatever. As menial as that sounds probably to a lot of people, I go, big deal, his shirt's untucked. But as a probie, you're expected to be squared away, period, the end. No, and
you wouldn't expect that from like even like the like a shit shop or anything like that. You would expect that from like no matter what, anywhere. And I was like floored. I'm like, are they like screwing her with me right now? Like, is this kid like not even like fine here?
Crazy, man. I don't get that. But whatever. I mean, there's what 10,000, 11,000 New York City firemen with officers, and you're not everybody's going to be that into it or that squared away or that whatever. They'll be found out sooner or later, you know. So whatever, that is what it is. It's hard to look back. Like if I go to an event or two and I see some guys and I don't really see them in uniform, but it's none of my business anymore. Like they don't want to hear from a retired guy about what's going on here, what's going on there. I had a couple of guys talk to me like, oh, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. I go, I don't give a fuck, bro. Nothing I can do, man. Nobody wants to hear from me about what goes on in the firehouse. And rightfully so, I'm retired. I have no business. I just want to show up and say hi and see the guys, and that's that, man. That's that. So, you got any memorable fires that you've been to with 30? Like you and I didn't work together a lot. I don't know. I can't remember. Like if you and I actually worked together. I remember we did a detail one night. You and I were on a detail, and we were sitting in like this TV room and you know, over the bitch box or something. The fire came in where my wife used to live, and I was like, holy shit, there's a fire like across the street from my wife's house. And he goes, ask her for a size up. How come you forget that? That was so funny. But I don't remember really catching. I don't think we worked together too much. So
were you like group 20?
I want to say I started out in 9, and then I think I went to 22. So I think those are my 2 groups.
Yeah, I wound up being like the only one that ever always stayed in 14. Okay. I could go out for a year with my shoulder, come back, group 14. Like I never had like a group change or anything like that. And also I was a terrible chauffeur, so nobody wanted to put me, you know, like in anybody's as a right chauffeur. So
did you ever hit anything?
I totally agree. I still say my wife is the better driver down here too. So
oh wait, you got a Jeep, right? You got a Jeep? Yep. Let's do a Jeep wave. Do a Jeep wave. There you go.
And when I drive it, she's like, "You're not doing a wave. We're gonna get flagged."
You know, I found out since I got the Jeep, we do the Jeep wave, and sometimes I forget, but I'm so conscious of it now when they're coming the other way, and the people that don't do it, I'm like, "You fucking jerk off! You didn't wave to me." And most of the Jeeps that don't wave are white Jeeps. Can you believe it?
That is, yeah. That must be a sign down here too. Same thing.
The white Jeeps, man. It's always the white Jeeps. Yeah. So, did you catch any work? You caught work at 30?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the funniest ones was when I first got there, and you know, everybody knew that was a volley and stuff like that. I show up to work at probably like my second or third tour, and on my front piece is a perfectly cut out like paper like volley like front piece instead of the 30 front piece, and it has like Captain Maypac Volunteer Fire Department. And I was working in the engine that day, and we catch a job on 125th Street, and I had at that time we still had the door door, but I never took that. They don't take anything off your helmet, don't take anything off your locker, nothing like that. In with the line, the door moving in, and all of a sudden I see like the chief from the 12th Battalion like looking through the haze, like with the front piece.
He's that close to you, huh?
He just started, like you can see, like he started immediately like laughing like crazy.
Oh, the men. That's funny. Yeah. What was that job? Was it like a taxpayer or something?
Yeah, it was a taxpayer. It was just a small, you know, wasn't anything crazy. It was during the daytime too. So, but
yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like stuff kind of like, you know, all melds into one. But we had the one where Bo almost went out the window to do a roof rope rescue, and we finally got the person.
That's right. He was all hooked up, ready to go. Right?
Ready to go. Yeah, he was ready to rock. And we're like trying to think like how, you know, like this guy's back there. Where the heck is he? Is he in the next apartment over?
Yeah.
And remember like going back out to the hall to really look quick, and I'm like, it can't be this door. He's literally got to be here.
Yeah.
What happened is the guy we actually, when we were going in, we knew she was dead, but his brother had like stabbed the mother, and she was out in the hallway, and you could tell she was obviously. He wound up taking a couch or an entertainment center and flipping it up over the hallway that led directly back to him.
Wow.
So you're doing a search, and it's black as hell in there, and you can't see anything, and you're just thinking that it's, you know, like a high stand, like a TV stand or something like that.
Yeah.
Not thinking that it's blocking the doorway. Eventually, you know, find it, push it aside. Timmy Harris and the squid go in the back.
The squid
sheltered the guy in a place. But I remember running up, and the guy, he's breaking the windows with his hands. You can see he's all bloody. He's like, he's trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me.
Man.
And I still had the article, but they want to find the guy like later on, like 125th Street subway, you know, all covered in blood.
Yeah.
The guy did that. Yeah, I mean, there's some like they all come back to you eventually. I remember like working. I was detailed to 80 and 23, and that night, like every house in the battalion had a first due job. I'm like,
Oh wow!
And this was like the first year I was there. I'm like, I made the best choice in the world.
We're going to work, man.
3 fires in a night. Wow.
Yeah. I remember there were nights like that for sure. 80 always caught good work, man. Like good first due work because their buildings are so big. 80 engines always caught really good first due work.
They had some alone time sometimes too. I remember that night they were second due to 69, and at that time the doorman was gone.
Yeah,
and the backup, or no, not the backup, the control man tapped out after that one. So they sent somebody else over. And I did the right thing. I said, "Oh, I came from an engine." So then they gave me control.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
A job right after that, and like maybe an hour later, first due job, ripping out 2 windows in the front. It's down by Riverside, and it was just that I think 59 might have been second due. So to think about 59, like
coming down the park,
due, and it was the hydrant was literally a block away.
Oh man!
Start yanking off some hose, and then the chauffeur takes off, and then by the time 59 came up, I'm still feeding out in the front of the street. It's a high stoop, still feeding stuff in. They're like, where? And they see me. They're like, where? They're thinking like, where's the backup, or like that, or where's and I'm like, yeah, I'm it. Like, and just as they rolled up, they called for water, and they were actually right there, and it was like,
nice. You miss going to fires or what?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, not to sound buffy, but that's what we were, that's what we were there for.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't miss the politics, of what's going on these days. And that's actually, I never thought I would have been like a 20 and out guy.
Yeah.
And I know most people didn't think that either. They thought that I was like some sort of brainiac or whatever. And then I was going to be like, at least a staff chief or something like that someday. And I'm like, no, I would probably never would have gone higher than captain anyway, because I don't want to be out of the mix.
I definitely didn't expect, when I heard that you retired, I was like, really? I thought you were going, going up, so I was a little, but you know what happens after COVID? Like, once COVID happened, I was like, I started losing my steam, and then I didn't want to do it anymore. I love the job. I love fire. I love going to fires. I didn't like all the injuries afterwards, but I love the guys, but politics as well. I just was like, you know what? I'm done. And I don't want to leave. I don't want to be bitter and do 5 more years angry or not wanting to be here just to collect a paycheck and not really be into it. So I was like, I'm done. So
yeah. And COVID was definitely something that made you feel like you were just a name and a number.
Yeah.
Like you were enlisted. Firehouse was different. Firehouse would always treat you, we're all family, we're all in it together. But the job itself, even something as simple as like looking down on, like bucketing, a bucket of water was like, to me, that guy has no clue how much he damaged this department, because speaking from an officer standpoint, no, I don't know how many times I would have to tell a guy, look up. Like you're walking into a 6-story building and you're not looking up. And before that, you could say that it was humiliating or whatever like that. And if you thought that, then you had a chip on your shoulder. I can't tell you how many, like you just forget, like it's 2:00 in the morning and you get that nasty bucket of water on you. And
bro, we were getting bucketed so much. Guys were bucketed, like you'd walk home, you'd be home looking up. Getting bucketed was not only, yes, it was fun and ball breaking and having a good time, but it really was a lesson. You're teaching guys to look at the building all the time. So, taking that away.
I don't care what you could say about that. Like was 100% one of the most valuable tools that you could use to teach anybody.
It's crazy. It's to somebody who's not a fireman, they're probably like, well, you're pouring water on him. Like what? It teaches him, like you said, to look up at the building, to size up the building. every single time, no matter where you're going. After a while, you start looking up at every building. And taking that away was ridiculous. I'm sure guys are still doing it somewhere. They got it. Yeah. Guys, that's one thing about firemen is you'll take something away for a little while, and then it kind of slowly creeps its way back into the job, you know? So when did you get promoted to lieutenant?
2014? No, 2017.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did you get a spot right away, or did you bounce for a little while?
So this was actually kind of like the turning of, for me, as far as like slowly seeing that, like, you know, you're just a name and a number. I mean, obviously COVID did that, but I wound up getting promoted 2017, over promoted because it was the end of the list and they had, you know, a lot of extra guys. So they needed somebody to go and do details to like fire prevention. So I got for an upstate guy, one of the worst like fire prevention details you can get. It was at Brooklyn, either 3 days or a fourth day on overtime a week. And you were doing nighttime knocks on doors to get Department of Buildings in to possibly vacate people. So you're in obviously the worst of the worst areas, knocking on the door at, you know, and some of these places, like I tell you, like, so it would be me and my partner was from the 6th Division, went to the 7th, and it was then 2 Department Building guys, and then that was it.
All right, so like 4E is knocking on a door.
Yep. No radio, like, so not any, like, you know, not that you would be able to contact a dispatcher with our radio anyway, but nobody had a radio or anything like that. And just knocking on the door, and you're walking in, you're looking to see egress or someone rats somebody out, you know. So do that for 6 months, going back and forth to Brooklyn.
Yeah, that sucks. That's from upstate. That sucks, dude.
It was no fun. It was easily, I would say, thankfully it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you would have like every other day to recuperate because it was like 20-hour days.
Yeah.
So driving, if you were doing that 3 days in a row. So that's why that 4th day was kind of like blood money.
Yeah.
So after that, get out and picking up an overtime tour in the division, and I hear about the spot in 90 potentially opening up. Joe, who did some time in 5930, was covering as the captain there at that time, but I was working in 38 truck. And
who was, you broke up a little bit, for who was there?
Joe Huber.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was covering there, and the captain of 38 knew, you know, that connection. 59. Yeah, you know, the guys, they're going to put a guy over there, but he's not even looking for the spot there. So I'm like, yeah, I knew 90 from being in the Bronx before. I'm like, oh, it's a great place. I would absolutely love it. And it was only a long-term spot. It wasn't even to like potentially, but it wound up leading me to get to the spot.
Yeah.
So I go to the division. At that time, it's Christmas time. You go in there with the slush gifts, you know, the cigars and all that good stuff. Like they knock with your elbows. Yeah. And I'm not negative for anything, but I hear them talking on the phone, and I come to find out, like after I leave, they were talking about me. Just nobody knew I was going there at that time. And I hear, yeah, we really can't put him there because it's, you know, it's going to sound like we're doing him a favor. And like, I'm like, oh, this guy's getting screwed, whoever they're talking about. I'm out of there no more than like 20 minutes later, and I'm getting a call from Huber, like, yeah, this guy doesn't even want the spot. I'm like, everything that I heard over the phone,
yeah,
like, we're talking. I just did 6 months going back and forth to Brooklyn, and you're telling me that you're not even going to let me cover in a spot for, you know, like a long-term medical leave spot where the guy's fighting to come back and did come back.
Yeah.
So he's like, he goes, if you want the battalion commander's working, talk to him, call him up. And I'm like, you don't call battalion commander. I got right in my car. Then, so that was the next day, actually. So I got right in the car, went and grabbed the cake I have in the front seat, and he calls me up and he goes, yeah, sorry, I gave you bad info. He was only awaiting relief. He's not there. I'm like, oh man. I was like literally just about to get on the highway with a cake and go see him. He goes, "You're going to go see him?" He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He calls up the battalion commander on his cell phone, and the battalion commander called, and this happened all within 20 minutes. He goes and calls up the division, says, "I want this guy in the spot."
Because you were going to see him.
Because I was going to see him.
Wow. See?
And all the things you learn from being in a good house paid off.
Maybe he probably dealt with guys that didn't step up like that or go the extra mile. You know, he said, you know what? This guy was going to come to see me the day after this info came out or whatever. I want him. That's it. This guy
wants to be there. He's motivated to do something like that. And
yeah.
The rest was history. On up leading into going from spot to spot and then finally getting the spot there.
Nice. And that was a good place, cold work and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, it was a great place, great guys. It reminded me just like the zoo.
Yeah.
Except they weren't as, mean. I don't mean mean in a bad way. I definitely mean like the house.
Every house on the job's got its mean guys, got its senior guys that break the balls, that keep the peace or whatever. But the zoo definitely was a special place. And there's probably a lot of places that'll go, wow, we're tougher than the zoo, or we're meaner than the zoo, but I don't know. When I first got to the zoo, when I first got transferred, a guy in my old place was like, and I was only in my old place for a year. He goes, "You know where you're going, right?" I go, "Yeah, I'm going to the Harlem Zoo, 59 and 30. What? It's a firehouse." He's like, No. Do you know the reputation of that house? I go, "What? What's like?" I was so naive to the fire department and how things work. I was like, "It's a firehouse there. It's all the same. It's just like this place." He goes, "Oh no." He goes, "You have no idea what you're fucking getting yourself into." I was like, "All right, yeah, whatever." And I got there and I was like, "Oh shit, man." But good, man. That's great. So you did about 6 or 7 years there, huh?
Yeah. And it was a place that actually made me contemplate whether I really wanted to get promoted or not.
Oh, really? Oh, was that good? Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, there was a great, not just firehouse, everything about it. Great commute, great amount of work, great guys. It was definitely a house that you could see wasn't affected by, the changing of the times or anything like that. Still motivated guys to work. The engine was great. The truck was great. It was
right.
And still, I talk to guys from time to time still from there, and it sounds like they're still doing great.
That's great. Like a place like that, because you have to put the commitment in to study, because obviously what the commitment is. You got to make that decision. Like, do I commit to studying because I want to leave, or do I just say fuck it and not put all that time in and just stay here and because studying for captain, forget it. I mean, studying for lieutenant was crazy, and I didn't do well.
No.
But that's the commitment.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I could say, at least I've almost been in every rank as long as I possibly could, because I was the bottom of the barrel of the lieutenant's list. I was literally 21 away from the bottom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was the second to last class off the captain's list that I took. So kind of at least spent anywhere where I was the maximum amount of time I could say I did.
Yeah. And so when did you got promoted to captain and sent to Division 8 when?
October of 21.
October 2021.
Yeah.
All right.
It was right before, I forget what was it, the vaccination thing or something. I forget what caused the staffing crisis where they were closing firehouses.
God, dude, it was
that time. It was 2 weeks before that, because I had no home, and they were trying to keep everybody in the same spot or something like that, and only officers were allowed to. Yeah, and they were splitting tours, or guys were going home at midnight, and
it was the weirdest schedule. Guys were going home getting kicked off the rig at midnight because they just did a 24 or something, and then they were closing firehouses and sending guys from all over the place. It was crazy chaos. I remember the very last fire I caught. This one is fifth alarm, which was more than a fifth. At midnight, it came in after midnight, and I came down and there was nobody. It was just me and Danny Erickson is the chauffeur, and I didn't know who was behind me. And some probie comes walking out of the back from somewhere in the Bronx. He's like, "Oh, I'm your control man." I was like, "Oh man, here we go." I was like, this sucks." Not that the kid sucked, but it was just the whole dynamic of the way the job was and moving guys around. And we get there, and then I had to wait for 69 to show up to have extra guys on the line. It was just, I hated that whole thing, man. I hated it. It was just really bad the way they did things, which turned me off, So
that was kind of almost a bit of the nail in the coffin for me with that.
Yeah. That job is maybe when I go, yeah, I'm not feeling this anymore. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. When did you get on the IMT?
2015, I think. Yeah. And that even too, like, was a bit of a surprise too, because I didn't know anything about the IMT and didn't know anybody on the IMT whatsoever. And I show up for the interview. I'm early in class A's, and you hear some stories where people just showed up in like their civilian clothes and things like that.
Sneakers.
Yes. And I had a side gig before. I did the flashover booth. So I at least had some sort of like as far as like they saw that I was willing to work beyond just the normal, firehouse schedule.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and the guy shows up before me. No, he shows up for the interview after me, but he shows up there at the same time. And they come out from the interview after interviewing the one guy, like, "Oh, you're up next, cool." And then that guy goes, "Hey, Shane, hey this, hey that," or like all the names. I'm like, "Oh, I know how this interview is going."
Yeah, he knows everybody. This guy, he's a shoo-in.
And I'm like, I don't know anybody in this job. My father was a locksmith and a policeman upstate. But I had just got back from Cancun the night before, and I got Montezuma's Revenge.
Oh,
I'm as white as my officer's uniform shirt. And I remember answering one question, and I could even hear myself I'm now in a blank stare, like answering a question, mumbling. I don't even know what I'm saying is nonsensical anymore. And it's like, I feel like that part in Old School where we're dumber for listening to you, like, God have mercy on your soul type of thing. And I had not, so they had a couple of positions that they had to apply for. And like one of them was like food unit leader. And I'm like, I was never the cook in the firehouse. I was always the guy to chop. So I didn't think I could do that job. So I signed up for map making, not thinking that it was, like what from being in the military, like GIS, like, like topography and planting points.
I would have been like, "Sorry, give me was the food service job still open?"
I'm like, I would go out on BI. I would put up Google Maps and put a little pin there, and that's where that's what I thought. So I thought I thought I wasn't going to get this thing, and I'm like, I think a month later, get a phone call like, "Hey, you want to join the IMT?" I'm like, "Yeah, nice. Absolutely."
Nice. And that was the position that you got?
Nah, so I wound up getting that was just to get you into the section.
Oh, okay.
So I got into the planning section, which was, to me, I love the section. I mean, I think you probably love any section that you get into. It's kind of like the firehouse. Mine's the best. Yours is sucks type of thing. So.
Yeah. A gig though, the IMT, right? You guys went through disasters and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's unbelievable. Like the things that I never thought I would see the world when I was, going to be in the IMT, but went to Puerto Rico, Texas.
Right. Texas, but you go to disaster zones, like.
Yeah, Montana. I remember. Wow. My first, they sent me out to Montana to help with a fire out there, and all I was doing was just checking people in, and there's like a job for everything. Like every little bit helps that get along.
Yeah.
I remember like it was like such like a My Cousin Vinny type of thing, like camping out in the middle of nowhere in bear country, and literally set up my tent. First of all, I had no clue. I set it up on top of like a mouse den. So in the morning, I have mice running underneath my tent, and I'm like playing like whack-a-mole. But it was right next to a train that would go by at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I remember I did the thing from My Cousin Vinny, walking into the tent next morning, bloodshot eyes. I'm like, does that train go by every time at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No, not every time. What was that train like? What would just to be out to learn to be out?
A train going through the middle of Montana, just
right. All the training, like being in the tents. What was
training?
Training was that just to be?
So that was actually at a wildfire. That was checking all the fire crews in and stuff like that. And then they find out, obviously, from I don't think I have a New York accent, but when you go to Montana, you definitely do.
Yeah.
They find out, you're they call it structure fireman. Like, oh, well, that's crazy. Like I'm like, crazy. I'm like, you guys are being parachuted into the middle of a fire.
Yeah.
And you're just going like this and like raking stuff and using I'm like, hell no. Like, you guys don't know. Like, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, completely. I mean, all firemen, but completely different fucking jobs, man. Like they dig holes. They use like heavy equipment and stuff like that, right? Like, so
yeah, I'm like, you carry a thing on your side so that you could wrap it around you when the fire comes over you if you have to. I'm like, we're just like backing out.
We'll just back out. Wow, that's crazy stuff. You probably learned a lot on the IMT. That's pretty cool. Real good.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting, and it definitely was something that I wish I could have, done earlier. Yeah, and I just felt like it was one of those things like, it's something for like a senior man, and then they don't. They want somebody that stays there longer. So it's something that they would want like earlier on in your career.
Yeah,
because by the time you get somebody sped up to like the higher positions, they retire, because that's what actually kind of what happened to me. Nobody expected I was going to retire. They were grooming me up. I became a planning section chief, which is the guy that oversees the writing of the plan and all the scheduling, the meeting and the stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm here during COVID, telling the chief of department when he could speak, like, okay, it's your turn, chief. Like, I'm like sitting here, like, I'm just like a little
I'm like, yeah, all right, chief, I got you go with the freaking power now.
I'm sitting here on a plan correcting grammar and like punctuation marks and stuff like that, so it sounds grammatically correct. And my 10th grade English teacher told me I was gonna be a garbage man when I grew up. Like, that's how bad my like, I got the English to the skin of my teeth. And now the New York City Fire Department trusts me to scrutinize a plan for proper grammar and punctuation.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. So you decide to retire in 2023. You're like, I'm done. You moved down south, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So how's living down south?
So much. It's so nice. I always hated snow. After you get out of high school, it doesn't get you out of anything anymore. You still got to drive through it to get to work. So, they talk about like if there's any type of like of an ice storm coming through, like the town shuts down for a day. I'm like, I'm good with that. I could do that.
Ice storm in down south is like everything shuts down. I don't have any snow or ice removal. Just wait till it warms up and it'll melt.
Yeah. I had a house built down here and the closing got pushed off for a week because they had like a 1/4 inch of an ice that came one day and melted the next day, but totally screwed up plans for everybody for that entire week.
I lived in Virginia a little while, a little north of where you are, and same thing. If it snowed a little bit, just a dusting, everything would shut down. Like the military bases would shut everything. It was crazy until it just warmed up. So you're retired, you're bored, you work for Home Depot for a day or two.
Yeah.
You decide to become a content creator. You decide to start a YouTube channel called Searching for Tone. I know we hit a little bit on it in the beginning, but what made you decide to do that? Like it's not an easy world. Like for me, I had a little bit of fear of judgment, of being judged by people.
Yeah.
I was like, screw it. I'm tired of watching other people do it. Let me try. What was your motivation for trying something like this?
So I feel like we're both the same. It's kind of like a continuation of a way of trying to help out people and, like that, like that service to other people.
Yeah.
So I felt like I could bring something that a lot of people can, as far as like, I was a fire instructor too for like 15 years. And I always strive to help the person out that had the extra, maybe a little bit harder to learn, break things down more simpler, and it resonated with them, I think, better than, somebody that was a rocket scientist and got it right away.
Yeah.
So I felt like I could get into that, and, had no clue how many people were actually out there, because the way the whole thing works is that a lot of these channels are hidden unless you start like actually doing deep dives and looking at it. So I always knew that there was probably about 20, 30 major channels. And then I saw some ones that weren't great. And I will never knock anybody after getting into content creating about how bad their stuff is, because if you have the courage to get up in front of a screen and do this thing, then props to you, because it's so much. It's almost kind of like being a probie again in the firehouse, like, especially like even you get like a stinging I'm like, I'm here trying to help you. And I probably have this 12-year-old telling you, you suck, your playing sucks. Like, and I respond back, oh, you're right. I'm just going to quit YouTube because you said so, like.
So what's the Searching for Tone channel about? Explain the channel, what it's about, what you do.
So really wanted to get back into playing and almost kind of like highlight that almost in a way like, hey, I'm one of you. Like, we could do this together. We'll start, learning together.
Yeah.
And what I hated was when I was playing back in the day, these huge channels, they could take like an $80 guitar or a $20 pedal and make the thing sound like completely amazing.
Wow.
I get it home and it sounds like absolute crap. And I'm like,
this sound in their room. They must have sound things in their room. And
what is that guy doing? Like, what am I doing wrong? And it actually feels discouraging when that happens to you. So I'm like,
yeah,
me do this stuff. And I hopefully that, like, even as I get hopefully better, that I could still do that type of content and show them what it sounds like. Because a lot of this stuff really is good now, but a lot of it is dog shit that's out there. And
like, do you mean channels of dog shit or the equipment?
The equipment is.
Okay.
The equipment, like some of it, like I got something that was like, and it could be just that model, but a lot of these reviewers that are so well known, like if you're going to get this out to 100,000 people, I think if the company sends you out a product, they're probably going to have somebody like with a fine-tooth comb, like, going through it and making sure it's set up well and under a, like
that's one that they got, right?
Yeah. So I'd rather get something completely like from the distributor, like not even knowing that it's going to this person, to find out what it's really going to be like when you get it home.
Yeah. You do a lot of unboxing stuff. What's some of the best equipment that you've unboxed, and some of the worst as far as guitars? And you just do guitars and pedals, or is there other equipment involved?
So right now, mostly I tried to do guitars and pedals, and more so guitar. It's so weird. Like when I remember back in the day watching YouTube, and like the whole guitar pedal thing was huge. You would like watch like channels forever on this pedal compared to that pedal, and you could do a pedal and it gets like 500 views. You could do a crappy guitar and it gets like 5,000 reviews. It's like,
there's no wrong reason.
Yeah. It's like, I guess I missed the mark on starting then. Maybe it would have been better, and the guitar isn't the cheapest part of it either. But
yeah.
And the problem is, I think, is they don't understand that you're so genuine in your review. First of all, people don't even understand is you're not getting paid for this. Like, they automatically assume you start from day one. They're like, you're just a cheap paid shill for this company. I'm like, actually, I'm a cheap unpaid shill because I don't get paid for this.
It's funny that you say that, because my wife ran into some friends of hers, and they were like, oh, how's Kenny and his retirement stuff? And she's like, oh, he's good, but he's working for the school now a little bit. And they're like, oh, his podcast though, he's getting paid from his podcast. She's like, no, he ain't getting paid. And that's, like you said, people don't understand, just because you have a YouTube channel or whatever, we're not getting paid. There's certain parameters. And even when those even when you hit those, if I do, you're not getting paid much. So this is all on the arm.
Yeah. If you've seen an ad during this thing, he's not getting paid for this right now. That ad is for free. But it's, and that's another thing. Is like people like, oh, you get those memberships, stuff like that. Yeah. YouTube takes 30%, and then the federal government's going to take their cut. Like at the end of the day, if you're breaking even,
like I'm scratching. Like my goal was to start to not to take away from the guitar searching for tone. My goal is 1,000 and 4,000 because that's where you can get monetized. And I feel like I'm scratched, like I'm just clawing my way there, man. And just you get 400 subscribers or 500, and you're like, okay, we're working. All of a sudden, you wake up the next day and you have 398 subscribers. You lost two. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Why did we?
Hey, it's time to go fuck their mother. I mean, it's
subscribe and not ever look at it again. Just subscribe.
Yeah.
But, no, man. The searching for tone, like the unboxing stuff, like your editing is really, really cool. You get right to the point. Like it's quick, especially your shorter videos are quick. Like they're really, really cool. So I really appreciate your channel, especially somebody who's tried to play guitar before.
Right.
You know, do you think in the future that you'll be doing maybe lessons or just, you know, getting people on to do lessons with them or them teach you? Or
I think what I wanted to do was eventually get into the progression of like going over other channels that do lessons and maybe like do them either like in a live stream and then eventually getting to that point of breaking down simple things to help people, you know, whether it's like how to properly fret strings or something like that, how to set up a guitar, even though there are already so many videos out there already, a lot of them are kind of outdated. And I try to do something a little bit different to be a little different than other channels, and sometimes that helps, sometimes that hurts. You know, like one person, I couldn't even watch this video. I love this guitar. I know the person very well, but you know, I couldn't even make it through this video because you didn't spend enough time on this guitar. So the next video I shoot, I take the guitar into bed with me.
I saw that. Is that why you had the guitar in bed with you?
Yep.
See,
like, I'll use some motivation. I'm gonna spend. I almost wanted to do like the scene from Naked Gun where they like they're playing the Beach Boys and they're like strolling on the park, or they're like doing like push the guitar in the swing.
Am I spending enough time with it now?
I'll take my subtle sarcasm that like kind of smacks you in the face. There's a kind of like an inspiration type thing.
It's almost like I want to like I haven't gotten too many comments. So I told you I put out that video yesterday, and I'm starting to get the clown comments and, you know, your job sucks type of stuff. And I want to go back at them, you know, like I want to explain stuff, but I also know that I could just wind up spending way too much time and energy on somebody who really doesn't give a shit about that. They're just being jackasses, or if they don't agree with you. So I got to learn to just ignore that stuff. We'll leave it alone and just kind of concentrate on like the positive stuff. Because if I let a little comment bother me, it'll bother me all day, and I just can't even pay attention. You seem to take it very well though, some of the comments that you've got.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I actually just had to reshoot a video not too long ago because I did one after, and it's like such like an innocent video that I shot. I was highlighting a huge content creator that I followed for many, many years.
Yeah.
And he has like 750 subscribers. And I'm like, if I can't do it for you, I'll put you on to the person that can. So let me make a video about this. And I had mentioned he had gotten a lot of flack during COVID times for like, because at that time people were now trying to like make shock videos, like, you know, trying to twist everything. So I found something that somebody was trying to claim about the guy and said, well, if you look at the thing as a whole, as a context, and you know the person, they're taking this, they're trying to make it something that it's absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I said that I was just a little too busy, you know, during the COVID time, trying to help New York City solve the pandemic issue.
Mm-hmm.
This guy comes at me with this comment, and I should have printed out, but it was to paraphrase it. He goes like, you know, nice little finger swirl, you know, Slay Queen or something like that. Like, what did some stupid GED New York City fireman have to do with help solving, you know, the pandemic issue of, you know, I'm sure all these doctors and things like that. And it didn't bother me in the sense of, I don't care what you say about me.
Yeah.
What pissed me off was that you thought that of a firefighter, that they're just some stupid GED.
Right. Right.
So I said, yeah, sorry for you not knowing anything about me or anything like that, but I was, part of his incident management team that was not only trying to get supplies for the firefighters out in the field that, was when we first started, we were projecting that we were going to run out of masks and gloves within 14 days of this starting in January. This was before any lockdowns or shutdowns in March. Then I was part of antibody testing, and I was part of the home vaccination of our elderly, and then also part of the program for vaccinating the workforce, which became the model for vaccinating the entire workforce of New York City.
Yeah.
So I probably didn't expect that from a little YouTube channel that has 500 or 300 followers at the time. And I ran this stuff, but I ran the meetings and things like that. And I was only part of it, for 2-3 weeks at a time, and then came back, but did that for the entire year of COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, this guy's super important. And I said, at the end of the day, you could have just clicked away and,
That's what I don't understand. If people don't like your content or my content or somebody's content, I think maybe not because we're old and mature. We're just decent people. If you don't like it, just move on. There's no sense in throwing a comment out and destroying some young person, some little kid's life that is trying to do something fun, and somebody makes a bad comment. That's gonna affect them. Just move the fuck on. Just move on. You don't like it, you don't like it. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to watch it. But why sit there and disrespect them with shitty comments?
I could take any other comment. It was just the fact that it pissed me off that's what you think about not me, that what you think about firemen, that we're just a bunch of you little pansy. I'm willing to risk my life to run into a building, not that we run, but go into a building and yank your little whiny ass out of a back bedroom. And that's what you think of a profession.
Yeah.
And maybe he could have been just angry at COVID. I don't know
maybe
what it was.
Maybe he was banging his wife.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is they don't understand the humor sometimes. So I was gonna be like, maybe he was just a police officer, his old lady got stolen by a fireman. And any police officers watching out there, you know what we're talking about. It's just banter back and forth. But I've had people say to me your playing sucks, and then they go and they troll you through the rest of your comments, and then go to another video. I did a video, my first video, I did absolutely no playing, and the guy goes 15 minutes and not one single part of this was playing. So I write back to him, I'm like, oh, this must have been your favorite video though, because the last comment you left was you said you hated my playing.
Yeah, but thanks for watching all my other videos though. I appreciate that, but you can leave nasty comments. My daughter had said she started some of the comments that I got on TikTok, she started trolling them. She was like, I'm your number one troll defense. I was like, right, just leave them alone. Don't even bother. She goes, no, even the bad comments are what generate more views. The more comments you get, the more the algorithm takes it, I guess. So I don't know.
I keep them on the hook for a while, just commenting back and forth. I'm like, this thing's gonna show 50 comments, so it's gonna boost up to the algorithm. Because I had one guy, and I tried not have it affect the product. With one guy, crazily, he goes about one guitar. Yeah, they have a climate controlled warehouse in Utah, but it's right next to a landfill. I'm like, next to now you got this contaminant all over your house. I'm like, this thing, first of all, is in a box, inside another box, inside a gig bag, wrapped in plastic. It's not contaminated whatsoever.
How do you even know that?
He's going on and on and on like this, and I'm like, I'm just letting him comment because I'm going to comment after. I'm like, yeah, I mean, keeping him on the hook just to get those comments rolling.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like, do me a favor, go Google Amazon warehouse in Staten Island.
Yeah, the whole Staten Island is the whole Staten Island is a landfill.
Yeah, you see that nice green mound right there.
People, this is what they're worried about. They're worried about a guitar in a warehouse that's near a landfill. Like what? Like I don't know. I wouldn't give a shit.
Your comment isn't gonna change the average viewers, but you just got me 50 comments, and now he's probably gonna go there and delete them all. So if he ever starts,
right. What was the best guitar that you unboxed? And did you like? I know you had like were you gonna do like a contest and a giveaway? Did you give away the guitar yet?
Yes, actually, this thing like I haven't even got to that. I want to build that one up.
Okay.
Actually, not the best one, but I think like even like the parts that I put into that one. If somebody wants to cannibalize that after they win it, like I want to do that like as a teaching thing to like, this is how you replace this part, you replace that part. But I haven't even gotten into that yet because my goal was to try to get like all the like the basic lines of like styles of guitars, like to get something into your hands and then go forward from there. And okay, now this is how you change this part or change that part. It's crazy how much stuff's out there. But the best one I have actually is two, and it's from the same company. And I catch so much flack from it because nobody could believe, and they don't believe because, like I'm not a virtuoso.
Yeah.
But this guitar, to me, honestly, it's the first one was a pink Stratocaster. And it's $5 cheaper than my first guitar was back in 97.
Really?
And it plays unbelievable. But because I'm not a great player, like you'll get people commenting, you don't know what you're talking about, or, they don't believe it. But hey, you can believe it or you're not, but you could go spend $700 on a name brand guitar because you want that name brand, or you could buy 4 of these and do different things with you want with it. Yeah. And then the next one, same company, is this, blue Telecaster out there that I just did. Same company, probably the best guitar I've ever played. And you get somebody like it. First of all, they complain because Telecaster is a name brand. That's like an actual name of. It's like the Camaro of a model of a actual name. Okay. Like that's not a Telecaster. Like they pick and choose like that stuff to blank to like. It's just it's just like, just click away,
Yeah. People, when they're watching your video, they're gonna nitpick because they're watching. They're gonna nitpick every little thing that you say or do because they have nothing else to do in their fucking life.
And to protect that name brand, like they'll say, like this sounds nothing like a Telecaster guitar whatsoever. And then I'll come back. I'll be like, you're absolutely wrong. You lost credence when you said this thing sounds like a toy. You could say my playing sounds like dog shit. I would totally accept that, and I wouldn't even clap you back. But you can't tell me that this doesn't sound like an awesome guitar. Yeah. And if you don't think so, then go check out other people that have reviewed this. Yeah. Maybe it is my playing, but don't ever, knock something. Like I'm the first. I have plenty of guitars that I knock and say that they're horrible, and I will let you know. I'm not here to, push something. Like I'm not going to push something that I don't believe in, or So it's.
So what do you see, like in the future? Like where do you see the channel in the future? Like what you want to do? You had said like breaking it down, building it back up. Do you see yourself? Where do you see the channel in the future? Like what you want to do?
I mean, hopefully to progress and get more like name brand stuff, and still do the introductory stuff, because that's still always going to have some sort of, following. Yeah. Definitely a lot more people that are getting into this, that sort of range than they are going for like the $3,000, $4,000 guitar. Yeah. And just being something different. I mean, I don't want to put too much effort into doing all those skits that I do that you see on something that's, a chintzy $40 guitar that sounds like like crap. You know, like people don't understand too how much time and effort goes into that stuff. Just putting in something that like, you know, a split screen of me on one side of the bed, like that's, you know,
a lot of work for a menial product.
It might have been like 15 seconds in a video, you know.
It's amazing. People just don't understand how much time it takes to do stuff like that. It's just so time consuming. I actually enjoy like the editing process, like an overlays and putting like the subscribe button on and that stuff and adding pictures. I kind of like that, but it takes all day. Like a 2-hour interview that I did a couple of weeks ago. I have to watch it like 4 times to do everything. So now it's 8 hours. I'm watching this same video. It's very, very, it's not that it's hard work. It definitely, content creating is definitely challenging, learning all this stuff. And then especially you're doing a product with guitars and playing and pedals and you're really getting into like the nuances of guitars and how they work. Like I'm just talking to people and editing a little bit, but it's really, really time consuming, you know? And if you don't consider that hard, then yes, then that's hard. But for me, it's just super time consuming.
And for some reason, sometimes when you're using the editing software, it'll like not work. Like when you try to like, I spent like 5 hours one day trying just to export a finalized video and looking up, nobody could explain the issue whatsoever, trying to Google like issues. It's like, delete all these files, like the made up files, call them render files, or then change the settings, or then delete the program and reinstall it, or it's like goes from one to the drastic, and then you finally get
plug it back in.
I'm like, so I spent an hour shooting this thing, 4 hours editing it, and then 5 hours trying to export it so I can get it up by a certain time.
So I found out, because I still use, for this, I'm using my laptop, but when I do other ones and I have the editing, like I'm using 3 iPhone 14 Pros. And I found out that one of my phones was filming in 4K and the other 2 were filming in 1080. And the 4K takes up way more space on the phone than the 1080s. And then trying to put them on the one app, the LumaFusion app, to sync all them up with the audio was taking all day to sync that up because of that, because the video was larger than the other ones. And then to export it, it took me 2 days to export almost 2 days to upload the video of Lieutenant Walsh's interview to YouTube. It was because of that, but I don't know. But this is the shit that I'm learning that's challenging and time consuming. Now I'm figuring it out, but it's crazy. This whole content creating is nuts.
In one aspect, we have it a little bit easier because we do have our phones. So like people don't realize, like they think that you probably have an amazing setup and they probably expect a little bit better for you because they see crystal clear video. And it's like, no, I'm shooting this on an iPhone where the guy that did this 20 years ago didn't have, an iPhone. He had how to use like an actual regular camera. But it would be easier if you did have a regular camera, but a regular camera costs you $2,000 and I'm not going to spend $2,000 on something that I'm going to get some 12-year-old telling me, you suck, kid, like, so.
You know what I recently did? I recently bought the Rodecaster audio interface, the Rodecaster pod mics, which are really, really good. And I'm still figuring out how to use them. But my last 2 interviews, I actually interviewed my son the other day. We had like a little talk. The last 2 interviews, the last 30 seconds of the audio, the first interview was almost 2 hours. His was just a little over an hour. For some reason, the last 30 seconds went mute. I have no idea why. And I didn't figure it out until I spliced everything together. And it just cut off. Like we were saying goodbye or whatever. And the audio just cut off. And I have no idea why. Yeah. So
it's great. And you got to deal with that stuff. And you're you're pulling your hair out. And like, it's just the stuff that like nobody sees. Is like, so you just would love, hey, just click away, like.
Right. For a video that 50 people are going to see. That just took days to do all this work, and you're gonna put it up and you'll be like, oh, I'm so excited, and then nobody watch.
And I see some guys out there like I'll find stuff just from trying to find inspiration to do, and I find a great content creator. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. But they might not have like any flashy thumbnails or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, let me see what they're doing now. Go and I click on their latest video. It's like, yeah, you know what? YouTube's not working out. I'm giving up. I'm done. I'm like, what? I'm like, this guy was great. Like,
yeah.
But
it definitely is a commitment. It definitely is a commitment. Now that I'm going back to work in a couple of weeks, it's going to be, to do interviews is tough, man. But dude, this has been very cool. Searching for Tone. I really appreciate catching up with you, man. It was awesome.
Oh man.
Where else can we find you, bro, on social media?
Just Googling Searching for Tone on Facebook and Instagram, and trying to do that. Like, that's the fine thing too about as like doing this is I am not really a like technologically advanced type person. So to learn all that stuff too, I was never a TikToker before this.
No.
And it seems like that's the way to go, but I hate it.
Dude, the reason why I'm on TikTok, real quick story. My son's friend, they're all going away to college, and we hadn't seen this kid in a while, and he shows up. He's a super nice kid. He's 18 years old. And I'm like, oh, Leo, man, how's things? How you doing? Where are you looking to go to college? He's like, well, we're moving out to LA. I was like, oh, okay, why? He's like, I'm going to do the music thing. And I'm like, what do you mean the music thing? What are you talking about? He goes, we just got a record deal. Him and his two brothers got a record deal. They're moving out to LA. They got signed to like Paramount Records or something like that. He's got like a boy band with his brothers. So I go, how the hell did that happen? He goes, well, we made a video. We wrote the song, sang it, made a video, put it on TikTok. And I wasn't on TikTok yet. He goes, and we blew up on TikTok and moved over to YouTube and started blowing up on YouTube. And I was like, so I went right on the channel, and he was like, you got to get on TikTok and put all your short videos on TikTok and see what happens. So I did that a couple months ago, and sure enough, yesterday, 16,000, I'm still getting notifications about that TikTok. So even though I don't really like TikTok, it seems to be good to, hopefully you get a couple of viewers, go over to YouTube and subscribe to your channel. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, man. The problem with mine too is like it's like so niche oriented too. Is that whole retention editing thing, like the Mr. Beast type stuff, where you're like speaking very quickly and changing the camera very quickly and trying to like that doesn't really work with mine. Like I dipped my balls in honey and ran through the forest of the Smoky Mountain Forest during bear season to see what happened. Stay tuned. What happens like that.
They also have a team of people working with them. They have editors, producers. Like, you don't realize those bigger channels like have a lot of people. Like you and I, it's you. You're the cameraman. You're the freaking the sound guy. You're the editor. You're the producer. That's what people don't get. Like, so we're doing everything ourselves, and new channels can understand that for sure.
Yeah.
You got any advice for any new channels?
I would say just don't give up. Like, well, so the caveat is to don't get into it for the money.
Yeah.
If you're looking to, unless you are an extremely charismatic person, you got a great content, you're also looking to do things that are super popular, like current event, like celebrity type stuff. Like it's like that Hawk 2 girl.
Oh yeah.
If you're into that type of if you could capture that in the first hour, you can get like 3 million views. You just got to be Johnny on the spot, get it up there, and you take off. But to me, I'm not looking to just do it for that.
Mm-hmm.
Stick it out for the long haul, and eventually, hopefully, it will come. And just be yourself, because you're gonna resonate with people. Don't try to target, because this person's doing it that way. Everybody has a different take on things, and you can bring something to the table.
Right. Cool, man. All right, so I think we'll end it here, man. I appreciate you coming out. Searching for Tone on YouTube. Check it out. Subscribe. Searching for Tone on Instagram. Searching for Tone on Facebook.
Yep.
And you also have a Patreon, did you say?
I do have a Patreon, but that's more for like trying to help get people stuff. Like, as far as like, it is gonna benefit me, but I set it up to like hopefully be able to purchase things to give away to those people. So
for the channel.
Yeah. So it's to help create content, but eventually like, you know, it maxes out, it would just break even. So
all right,
I don't think normal people like that are just watching every day would want a guitar pedal or a guitar, but you could sell it if you want to.
Yeah. Cool, brother. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm gonna hit stop, but I think we'll still record for a second. Oh, not record, but we'll say our goodbyes. But anyway, thanks, Brian.
Yeah,
remember, it wasn't proof you heard it at the kitchen table. See you at the big one.